Hey all, hope everyone is having a good day. In this video, I'm going to review the Aritzia Super Puff. I have it in the long style. So I just purchased one about a month ago, and I'm going to talk about the differences in the new 2020 model compared to the previous 2019 one. I did own one in 2019, which I sold, and I'll talk about why. I thought this would be a great time to do this review because the Aritzia clientele sale is on right now, and they are actually offering 10% off their Super Puffs. So if you're not part of the clientele, which I don't really know how you get to be a part of this, probably just buying a lot of shit like I do, but if you're not part of the clientele sale, they do open this sale up to the wider public starting this Thursday the 26th until Monday the 30th. So if you've been thinking about getting a Super Puff, keep watching because now might be the best time to get it. So what I really want to cover in this video are some new improvements in the jacket. I don't care too much about, some of the aesthetic upgrades. I find that they're very minimal. Things like now the buttons on the jacket have a little TNA logo that you can barely see, but otherwise I don't really think that the aesthetic differences are all that important. So what I want to cover is really what has improved in the function of the jacket. So the first thing I want to talk about is the size and how it fits. So the Super Puff does fit very oversized. I'm typically a size small in Aritzia tops and in their outerwear, but in the Super Puff I have a double extra small. And this is just because of the fact that it fits very oversized. So it really depends on what kind of look you're going for, but I felt that the extra small was still much too roomy for my petite frame. And although this style of jacket is not meant to be form-fitted, it still just hung way too loose, and I had more than enough room if I were to wear a sweater underneath. So the double extra small fit me really well. As you can see, it still falls really nicely. It's not form fitted, but it's loose enough that I can fit a sweater underneath without making me look super frumpy like I'm totally drowning in the jacket. So as I mentioned, I'm petite, I'm 5'1", and I really like where it falls on me. I like that it's really long. The main goal for me when looking for a new winter parka was basically that it felt like I would be wrapped up in a duvet. I wanted something that was almost all the way down to my ankles so that I could be fully covered up. And the main reason for this is because I have a dog and I walk him every single morning, and it can get very cold to be outside for extended periods of time in Canadian winter. So if you're taller, it won't go quite as far down your legs as it does on me, but personally I really like the maximum coverage on my legs. So one of the improvements is that the sleeve has a thumb hole now, so you can stick your thumb through it and put your gloves over top, and again, it just really gives you maximum warmth. It's a very small upgrade, but sometimes it's those minor details that really make a big difference. The other main improvement that I want to talk about is just an overall improvement of the quality of the jacket. So I mentioned earlier on that I did own a Super Puff from last year, and it was kind of a bit of a clusterfuck. I purchased the same model that I have now, so the long Super Puff in matte black. And if any of you guys have owned a Super Puff in the past, you might have encountered this issue with the feathers coming out at the seams. This is an issue that I know a lot of people face with their jacket, and I, for one, was really not happy with this because I've owned many down jackets in the past and didn't see this issue to the extent that I saw it on this jacket. So I got in touch with Aritzia customer service, I mentioned the issue, and I was able to exchange it since I had only had the jacket for a really short amount of time, maybe like a month. When exchanging it, I was told that there was a newer model. It was a soft shine black. So I went with the soft shine black, and it was worse. I never saw this soft shine model online since, so I wonder if it was actually a previous year's model instead of a newer one like they said, but either way, I absolutely hated it. So I sold that jacket earlier this year, but I was still considering buying it again because I just really liked the fact that it was so long and warm, and also that it was very light. I will say another really great feature about this jacket is Even though it is so long and you might expect that it's heavy in order to be warm, it is really a very light jacket, which makes it very easy to wear. And in the wintertime, you're already bundling up so much that any extra weight in your jacket just really makes you feel more like a Michelin man. So the biggest improvement that I wanted to touch on is the quality of this jacket. And the reason I told you guys kind of the backstory is so that you know I did have the previous jacket, so I do know that there is a big improvement in the quality. The material on the newer Super Puff is just much thicker, not thick to the extent that it's gonna add any weight to the jacket, but it feels a lot more sturdy and just overall better quality than the previous model. The first matte black Super Puff that I had was still thinner than this one, and the material almost felt a bit stretchy. I don't really know how else to explain it. It just, when you touched it, it felt a bit stretchy and a little bit more flimsy. And then the black soft shine that I exchanged it for afterward felt even thinner and flimsier, so I'm not really surprised that the feathering issue was worse on that one. The material on this one definitely feels a lot more substantial, and I also reached out to Aritzia concierge just to ask if they were aware of the issue in the past and if they know at all if it's been improved. They did tell me that they always take feedback from their customers and improve their products year after year. So when I went to the store and picked this one up, I could definitely tell that it was true. It only recently started getting cold here in Toronto, so I've only worn this one maybe 3 or 4 times, but I will say that I have seen no signs of feathers coming out, whereas with the older one, I did see the issue crop up quite early into owning the jacket. So I have a lot of hope that with the new material, that problem has been fixed. And this time I did get the matte black again, which is a really nice, deep, dark black, which is what I wanted. Canadian winters get very, very cold. They do advertise that this jacket will keep you warm up to -40 degrees Celsius. We haven't yet experienced that level of cold in Toronto yet, so I can't really speak to whether that's accurate, but I will say because I've owned this jacket in the past, I know that it is very, very warm, and I can only imagine that that has either stayed the same or improved. And this material is also wind resistant, which definitely helps keep you really warm. The last feature I want to touch on is the fact that it's water repellent. So this might not seem that important in the winter time with snow, but sometimes the snow is not nice and fluffy. Sometimes it's actually kind of wet. So this past weekend, we did have some wet snow, which didn't really stay on the ground. It kind of just melted right when it hit the floor because it wasn't quite cold enough, but I was wearing this jacket and I was pretty impressed by how water repellent it was. So you can see that my whole jacket was really covered in water from the wet snow, and I just tried wiping it off basically, and it completely came off. Looking at it closer, I could tell that the water really wasn't penetrating the material at all. It was really just kind of sitting on top, which is what made it so easy to just wipe off. This may not seem like a super important feature, but oftentimes when you come inside from being outside when it was snowing, all that snow is now melted and on your jacket, and sometimes you have to like air dry it out before you can put it back into the closet, otherwise the rest of your jackets are gonna get wet. Because this is water repellent, I really just gave it a quick shake and all the water came off and I could just hang it back in my closet right away. They did come out with a new model this year called the Super Puff 2.0, which is completely waterproof, but for the purpose of winter and snow and how much kind of water is really gonna get on your jacket, I don't think it's really necessary to get the fully waterproof one. The matte black water repellent one does the job just fine. It really just depends on where you live and what the climate is like there and whether you feel like the full waterproofness is really necessary. So I just want to do this quick review to help you guys decide whether or not you should get the Super Puff. Because I've been really pleased with the improvement of quality, I wanted to share that with you guys so that even if you do have a Super Puff model from before, maybe it's something that you want to invest in now and sell your old one like I did. I just know I would not have been happy keeping that soft shine model. The black just wasn't dark enough and the quality was just really shit. But it's good to know that Aritzia has listened to the feedback and they've incorporated it into their new model. So if you have been thinking about it, I do think now is the best time to get it because these rarely ever go on sale. I think this is probably the only time of year that they do. The extra 10% off gives you a discount of 40 bucks Canadian. It's originally $3.50 before tax, but with the discount, it's now $3.15 before tax. So if you've been interested in getting the Super Puff, I would say that now is a great time, especially since the quality has improved so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.